The problem is really not a border crisis. The real crisis is in Central America, in 3 countries.
3 of the 5 most violent places in the entire world are Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. You have children that are facing the prospect of either joining a gang or being killed, are facing the prospect of living without a parent because a parent either has been killed or has been absent or has come to this country without them. They're being raised by another relative, sometimes living by themselves.
The rule of law is gone. And the result of that is that the women and children are being abused, raped, tortured, beaten, and killed with no result for the perpetrators.
The stats are staggering. We're talking about last year alone, over 68,000 children came to this country unaccompanied from primarily Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala.
I think what has surprised me the most is the sheer magnitude of the problem and how taxed the system and the courts have been until you see just how inequipped some of our systems are for handling this issue. You don't expect it to be this bad in this country.
So these women and children that are coming to the United States are completely helpless. I'll give you an example. The first 2 women that I interviewed at the Artesia detention facility, both have been shot. They showed me their wounds. One had a beautiful 5-year-old boy who had been raped by his 18-year-old male cousin with no result for the perpetrator. The rule of law is gone. That's the crisis we're dealing with.
I look at it, I'm a father of 2 boys. I have a 6-year-old son, I have an 11-year-old son. There is no way that I would let my 11-year-old son travel 1,800 miles by himself on the hope of maybe getting to this country. So for parents to have to let their children go, for these children to make the decision to make that journey by themselves, that speaks a lot to the gravity of the situation in that country. So I really do view it more as a humanitarian crisis than an immigration crisis.
We've heard it over and over that the threats of your daughter, your child being raped is a very common threat and one that they will carry out. They will shoot family members if you don't participate in selling of drugs or participating in the gangs in any way. So it's a violent world and they have no rules. Many gangs in the U.S., at least what I was exposed to growing up, there were rules about what could be done and couldn't be done. So there was a way to manage and navigate that system, so to speak, and you just don't seem to have those rules in Central America. Anything's fair game.
All the statistics show that if you have a lawyer representing you, you're much more likely to get relief. And the relief is deserved relief under the laws that we have.
One of the firm's clients and her 5-year-old son had been sexually abused by a family member in Honduras, and they were in detention, and he was regressing aggressively and had been displaying several very, very common characteristics of sexual abuse of a child. He needed care, he needed counseling, and he wasn't getting that there. They don't have any psychological services of that degree. And so for their bond hearing, I was saying the government is unable to or unwilling to provide the care that this little boy needs, and he needs to be in a place where he can get that, and that's not here. And the judge sent me home and said, you haven't shown that you have a plan for them within their budget at no expense to the state or the federal government, including transportation, to provide those services to that child. And he gave me a week and said, come back with a plan to get the child and the mother, for that matter, the social services they need. So in that week, we made an action plan that fit the requirements by the judge, which I think was even longer than the ones I just rattled off. And we came back and we said, here's our action plan, and we supported it with loads of research about abuse of a child and what that remediation plan needs to look like. And the judge was really impressed and said this is really persuasive, and gave them the lowest bond that had been set in Artesia, New Mexico to date. It was awesome. So once we got their bond paid, we got them out, and they're in Miami living with a family member, and now the little boy goes to counseling once a week, and every other week they go to counseling together. And he's doing light years better, just absolutely light years better. He's just so excited and loving life, which it couldn't be more different from when it was when I met him when they were in detention.
they finally feel that someone is on their side. That feeling and them opening up to you, that is the feeling and the moment that's most resonated with me. You're making a very big difference in someone's life. Even just stopping to think about what you are doing for their children and what kind of opportunities are going to be available to them now that they're here too.
I grew up in El Paso, which is a border town. My mother came from Mexico. I married my dad, who'd been in Texas, but his family was all originally from Mexico, but had a couple of generations here in Texas. My mom dropped out of school when she was in 6th grade, and my dad when he was a sophomore in high school. But they always stressed to us the importance of an education. And so even though we grew up in what would not be the best of neighborhoods, and we had issues with the drugs and the gangs and all of those types of issues that you can grow up with in some of the tougher neighborhoods, my parents were always there for us, and they always stressed the importance of an education. And so I was able to, graduate from high school, go to college, eventually go on to law school and succeed in, now partner at Jones Day and leading the Dallas office here. So it's the education of really an immigrant family coming over, the huge impact an education can make, and the perception that these immigrant children are going to come over and not make something of their lives it's very frustrating to me, because I look at that and I think, why? You can make a difference and you can succeed in life. Given an education, they'll have those same opportunities and ability to succeed. They just need to be given the opportunity. They are who I could have been had I not had the opportunity to get that education. So there's all the reasons we should be doing it. It's the right thing, but it's also that I connect with the issue in a very personal way, because that could have been me, and it certainly could be my family members.